Hey Opties! Let's look at determine congruent triangles on Khan Academy. So the first question we have here is, it says consider the two triangles shown below. Note the triangles are not drawn to scale, and we want to decide, are the two triangles congruent? And our answer choices are yes, no, or there is not enough information to say. So first of all, let's think about what it takes to make congruent triangles. So for any congruent polygons, triangle is a polygon, we have to have congruent angles and congruent side lengths. Okay, so let's write that out. Congruent angles and congruent sides. So we have to decide if we think the angles in these two triangles match and if the sides in these two triangles match. So we have a 7 and an 8, which don't match, and we have a 43 and a 41, which don't match, and an 84 and a 61, which don't match. Now, just because they don't match by looking at it first doesn't mean they will never not be congruent. However, since there's not at least one angle matching, we know for sure they're not congruent, because if we have two angles, we can find the third because we can just do 180 minus the other two angles. And there's really no need to do this because the 84 and the 43, they would have to match up exactly with these angles. So we can tell for sure that they're not congruent. So let's go ahead and say no. Next question. Consider the two triangles shown below. The triangles are not drawn to scale. Are the two triangles congruent? Okay, so we have two sides, and we see that they're matching. The 7s match, and the 5s match. Now, we have to decide, is this enough info to determine if these triangles are congruent? Well, if you just look at them, they don't look very congruent. They definitely look like they have different shapes. But if we think about some of our triangle congruence theorems, one of them that has two sides involved is side, angle, side. This means if we know that there's a side congruent, an angle between the side, and then another side in that order, and that's true for two triangles or more, then those sets of triangles are going to be congruent. But since we do not have an angle between these sides, we can't say that they're congruent. There's not enough information. Another triangle congruence theorem that we could consider is side, side, side. If all three sides are congruent, then we know that the two triangles are congruent, because that kind of fixes the angles. And with our side, angle, side, if we know the side, angle, and side in that order are congruent, then it fixes everything else to have congruent sides and congruent angles. But we don't know the size of our third side, so we can't claim side, side, side either. So it has to be there's not enough information to say. And we are correct. Next question, consider the two triangles shown below. Let's see if we have any numbers lining up. So we see that we have 5, 7, and then 6, 8. We don't have any pairs of side lengths matching, so it's already looking like a bad sign. And our 38 and 54, that's no matching there. Now, it could be deceiving with just one angle, but the fact that there are two sides given and not even one of them matches tells us for sure that they're not congruent. Next question. Consider the two triangles shown below. Okay, so we're given a triangle with just angle measures. Our 37s match. Our 85s match. and our 58ths match. So we could say this is an angle, angle, angle situation. One thing I like to do when I think about angle, angle, angle situations is think about taking an image and then enlarging it. So here is a square, or it's supposed to be a square. And we know that the angles on a square are always 90 degrees on all four corners. So let's make another square, because we know that we'll have to have the same angle measures to make another square. So let's make a square of side length 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 instead of that side length of 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So our angles are matching. But our side lengths clearly are not. This is a side length of 3. And this square has a side length of 6. So just because our angles match here on our triangles does not mean that our sides match. And remember, for congruent figures, both have to be true. So this has to be a no, they're not congruent. However, we can call them similar, which means their side lengths are in a proportion to each other. And we'll learn more about that later. Okay, so I did get the incorrect answer first. Now here's the deal. I didn't consider that maybe the side lengths truly are congruent and they just didn't tell us. So I guess technically this answer is there's not enough information to say. But it is still true that we can't tell that they're congruent. The only way we would know is if it told us the side length. So I suppose they could be congruent, but since they did not give us enough information, we can't say. Here's our last question. Let's see if we have any matches. So our 46s match. Our side lengths of 8 match. And our angles of 75 match. So let's think about the order in which we see the angles and side lengths. We have an angle, a side, and then another angle in that order. It's very important to consider the order. So we have angle, side, angle, relationship. So let's think about this. Can we tell what this third angle is? Well, sure, we could subtract from 180. And we know that if you've got an angle in one side and you've already got the other angle fixed, it has to fix these other sides. These other sides cannot go any further than what they are. This is a triangle congruence theorem, angle, side, angle. So since we know this information in this order, we know that the leftover angle and the leftover sides are also congruent without it being shown to us. So this is a yes. All right, Opties, that's it for our determining congruent triangles practice on Khan Academy. See you next time.